Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today we're going to be doing an iceberg. And not any kind of iceberg, we're doing a Danny Phantom iceberg. Now I had noticed that there were a couple of Danny Phantom icebergs like floating around type of thing. The only videos that I could find on these type of icebergs and stuff were in another language, so you know, here I am. As well as the fact that all of the icebergs and stuff, there were a bunch of different ones. They had a bunch of different things on them, but none of them had everything. So I took all of them and put them into a video here, and I hope you guys enjoy. So taking everything was a little bit difficult because, like, you know, some things were a little more well known, some things weren't, and I put them in different places depending on the different icebergs and stuff. So I ended up taking them and moving them all into different places. So layer 1 is going to be stuff that people outside of the fandom might have heard, might have seen or something, go on or something like that. Layer 2 is after you've entered the fandom. These are probably the first things that you'll end up seeing and hearing from other fans. Number 3, layer 3, is that you've started looking into things, you've gotten a little deeper into the fandom type of thing. Layer 4 is actually going to be a bunch of AUs and different stories and stuff like that because there's quite a lot and they were scattered all over the entire lists that I had found, and I decided to put them all in one layer together to make it a little easier. Layer 5 is when the really cursed fandom knowledge starts coming out. Layer 5's a good one. And then layer 6 is in the depths, the least known or most absurd theories and stuff like that will be. Now I have to give a little heads up. A good amount of the people who is going to be watching this is most likely going to see this and be like, "Oh, Danny Phantom! I haven't seen that since my childhood!" And expect me to talk about a lot of little hidden secrets in the creation of the show and stuff. But I have to give you a little heads up. The fandom has not stopped. As in, normal shows for fandoms and stuff like that normally fizzle out over time to a very small little niche thing. But not this one. This one has kept going on very strong for years. So 95% of this is going to be from the fandom. It has been, as of today, 19 years since this show aired. And a lot can happen in 19 years. Now, before we get into the official iceberg and stuff, I have to give out a special thanks to Ethan is Obsessed and Lexi Piper for the key to your guys' iceberg, because it was very helpful. I used a bunch of different icebergs that different people have made because not everybody had everything on their own iceberg. But yeah, thank you guys for the key. It was very helpful in the making of this video. Now let's get into the iceberg. Let's get into the chaos. Layer 1. Now this first layer is actually going to be stuff that people outside of the fandom might have seen or have heard about. Cool art. There are many really good artists in the fandom, and their art has been seen pretty often. Nicktoons Unite crossover. This is an old game from the early 2000s where it's a crossover between Danny Phantom, SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, and Timmy Turner. The Butch Hartman controversy. In 2018, Butch Hartman started a Kickstarter for a family-friendly streaming service. Later on, people found out that the site was actually going to be a Christian streaming service, which Butch had not been clear about at all in the Kickstarter. It has been 5 years, and there's still nothing. People have chopped this up to be a complete and utter scam. Fans don't like Butch Hartman. A lot of the Danny Phantom fans don't actually like Butch Hartman. He tends to use Danny as clickbait for his YouTube, as well as trying to come up with random controversial comments and videos about the old series. Many of the fans have given him a lot of really fun nicknames, which I will put on the screen here, because I don't swear, I call him Bleach Fartman. What's your guys' favorite? 10 years later videos. Butch has created a few videos about what he thinks would happen to the Danny Phantom characters in the future 10 years later. But a lot of what he has come up with for these 10 years later videos kind of goes against the character's story arc, and a lot of the fans don't really like it. Steven Silver, the character designer on Danny Phantom, did his own version of 10 years later, and gosh darn, it looks amazing. Kuro the artist. Kuro is an artist who had created a Danny Phantom crossover with Ben 10 called 5 Years Later. Butch took interest in this and Kuro started working for him. But Butch did not credit Kuro and has not paid Kuro yet. Pay Kuro, Butch! Butch Hartman tracing, no one likes that in the art community. Butch has done $200 commissions and traced them from official to fan art. Nickelodeon steals Risa Tsumi's art. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. In the game Nick Extreme Tennis, there was an emote that wasn't from the original Danny Phantom show. It was actually fan art. The people who put it in the game genuinely thought that Risa Tsumi's art was from the original show because how good it was. After apologizing and changing the emotes, they actually offered her a job. For this next point, my friend Dylan wanted to take over for this part because he's going to be jumping in every once in a while and reading a few of these just to help me out.
The Ember fanboy killer, real name Randy Stair, is a mass shooter infamous for his obsession with Ember McLean, as well as his beliefs in the afterlife that would give Chris Chan a run for his money. If you want a more in-depth telling of this seriously crazed-up Fruit Loops story, you can check out Eleanor Neal's video linked in the description below.
Layer 2. These are some of the first things that you'll see when you enter the fandom. Timmy turns into Danny. This is a theory that Timmy makes a wish and becomes Danny. We're just gonna move on. Trans Danny. A widely accepted fan theory due to the amount of evidence towards it, as well as the fans' disdain for Butch Hartman and his transphobic and bigoted ways. The main bit of evidence is from Season 1, Episode 16, Lucky in Love. The episode starts at a water park, and Danny is the only boy wearing a t-shirt over his suit. Then, when the ghost attacks, he runs into the women's locker room, only to be pushed out by Paulina and Star, with Paulina commenting, "I tell you to go to the men's room, but I don't think you qualify." This implies that Paulina is somewhat transphobic, as well as the second main bit of evidence is from when Vlad clones Danny. The only clone that comes out successfully is Danny with an eye. A little girl clone! Vlad tries to make a male clone of Danny, but the only one that's successful is the little girl. Also, clones are technically a perfect copy of the original. If the only copy that came out correct is a girl and not a guy, you see where the fans picked up the evidence from. Also, the guy who designed Danny, Steven Silver, had this to say.
Trans.
You heard it here. Can you say it one more time?
Danny Phantom is trans.
Thank you.
Moving on. April 3rd, Dan-Apocalypse. Every April 3rd, the fandom gets together to take over Tumblr and show their appreciation of the cartoon. Over the years, it's slowly gotten more cursed, and now Dano's everywhere. Dano is what the fans call the one frame of Danny looking directly at the camera. They've even made a phantom version of him. Danime, another fandom holiday. It's like Inktober, but in May, but not just art and any form of art form, as well as like fan fiction and stuff. It's a month-long holiday to show the fandom's appreciation of the cartoon. Inktober. This one is actually just Inktober, but Danny Phantom themed in October. Canon versus fanon. The fandom often forgets what's canon and what's fanon because there's a lot of it, and a good amount of the fanon actually combines seamlessly with canon, so the confusion starts happening quite a lot. Angst! It's a well-known fact that the fandom likes to torture poor Danny in many different ways. And you may be wondering, why did this happen? Well, it all started with the shipping characters and Butch Hartman being Butch and disliking what was going on. As well as, splitting the fandom, but that's a little further down. People wanted to get back at him, so they started writing angst. In more recent years, it's more or less about let's mess with Butch and more the fandom has gone off the deep end, let's keep writing angst. And they've got really good at it.
In Season 3, Episode 6, Urban Jungle, Frostbite comments on how Danny's central core is extremely cold. This made people go with the idea of a ghost's core being the center of their being, similar to a human heart being the center of a human being. This was never officially stated in the show, but fans did what they do best. Danny's core. Danny's core in canon, quote-unquote, has been seen to have been an ice core, mainly due to his ghost sense and his ice powers that he would develop later. However, in the fanon, it could also be seen that he would have a lightning core, mainly due to the fact that he was electrocuted half to death. Vlad's core. Vlad's core is either a fire core or a plasma core, mainly because he is seen throughout the series using both fire and plasma-based abilities. I personally subscribe to Plasma, given that he gave himself the name of fucking Plasmius. Phantom Planet isn't canon, fuck you. The fandom hates Phantom Planet with a passion. It was originally the series finale, and it's mainly due to bad writing and characters just acting off. Specifically, they were doing stuff that they wouldn't normally do or make sense for them to be doing. As well as the main ending with Danny revealing himself to the world as the Ghost Boy and Tucker becoming mayor at the ripe old age of 16. How is this legal in any way, shape, or form? Don't ask me.
Wait a minute, is that Freak Show? Am I gonna... Okay, I was editing this and I ended up finding like a couple screenshots and stuff, and I ended up finding one with Freak Show in it in the final episode. Of course. Gosh darn it, now I'm gonna have to add Freak Show dies into the iceberg. Anyways, we see a ghost version of Freak Show in the final episode. In an earlier episode, we see him alive, so that means that he somehow died, probably in prison. I don't know. This is wild. Anyways, we're just gonna move on. Season 3 isn't canon. After the series, head writer Steve Marmel left after Season 2 because of creative differences. The writing was left to Butch. And the show had a serious decline in quality. Some fans have decided that Season 3 isn't canon anymore. Glowing freckles. We see an old photo of baby Danny. He has freckles, and someone came up with the idea of, what if they glow? And a lot of people really liked that idea. So, you know, glowing freckles. A Glitch in Time. This is a Danny Phantom graphic novel that will be coming out July 18th, 2023. Created by Gabriella Epstein. It will be a continuation of the original story, continuing after Phantom Planet, and it will be dealing with Dark Danny. Ghost Speak. In Season 1, Episode 3, One of a Kind, Jack creates a gadget called the Ghost Gabber, which translates ghost talk to something humans could understand. Fans have come up with it's either a dead language like Latin or Esperanto, or just something incorporeal, supernatural language. Layers. These are a little pocket dimension. Each ghost has their own. It's what they feel safest in. It is shown in the show with the floating doors in the ghost zone. The layers could be controlled by the ghost consciousness that inhabit each one. Haunts. This is referencing the area that the ghost claims to its haunt. It's often said Danny's haunt is Amity Park.
Obsessions. Obsessions are what give ghosts their purpose. This is another fan creation that could be very easily considered canon. Bad things happen if ghosts do not pursue their purpose or are unable to for whatever reason. Good examples of ghosts pursuing their purpose would be the box ghost's obsession with all things packaging related, the lunch lady's obsession with food, or Skulker's obsession with the hunt. Space and protection obsession. It's a common thing to give Danny a protection obsession in fan creations, which is why he tends to try and protect the people of Amity Park. Some fans, however, have decided to give Danny a space obsession due to the fact that he wants to become an astronaut.
Get souped! Danny uses a thermos to capture ghosts in the cartoon. That's led the fans to say, get souped, because thermoses usually contain soup. Field trip into the Ghost Zone, a popular fan fiction trope where Danny and his class end up going to the Ghost Zone for a field trip. These fics are usually really fun, and a lot of shenanigans happen.
Yo vs. Young. Butch Hartman posted a video claiming the intro to the show actually began with the word young instead of yo. Considering, however, that Butch Hartman likes to try and change things after the fact just to try and keep himself relevant, we're not the sole Wes Weston. There's a random background character that looks like Danny that the fandom has decided to adopt. They named him Wes from the time Danny was to give Sam a ring that said Sam, but upon looking at it upside down, Sam read it as Wes. The fandom gave him background, and they decided that because he already looks like Danny, and how he's more athletic than Danny, people would assume that Wes is Phantom. But at that same time, Wes has figured out that Danny is in fact Phantom. No one believes him, however, which leads to people making fics and comics where Danny just changes in front of Wes, and nobody believing him. Apparently Danny and his friends don't really see Wes as a threat, and decided to harass him every chance they get, which I find personally hilarious.
Blood Blossoms. In Season 3, Episode 2, Infinite Realms, Danny, Sam, and Tucker all end up in the past. While there are blood blossoms that are these red roses with black stems. They have strange anti-supernatural properties. They act kind of like how the ghost shields work in modern day, but they're older, they're a plant, and they're way better at doing what the technology does. The only way to really get rid of the effects from the blossoms is to eat them. Lichtenberg scar. This is a type of scar that someone gets after getting struck by electricity. Many people have given Danny this scar after he had been shocked by the ghost portal. Daniel James Fenton. The fandom has agreed that Danny's middle name is James. Mint chip ice cream. This is commonly agreed upon from the fandom that Danny's favorite ice cream flavor is mint chip. William versus Edward Lancer. Mr. Lancer has never been given a first name in the show, so the fans have given him most commonly either William or Edward. Toast the Ghost. Danny is notably tanner in his ghost form than he is in his human form. In 2019, Nickelodeon posted a short animation and Danny is in it. He notably does not have his tan in his ghost form, which has led fans to create the hashtag #ToastTheGhost, and even edited screenshots of the episode to give Danny his tan.
Going Ghost Squared. In the game Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, Danny can go ghost after already being in his ghost form. This has made fans make such comments as, did Danny just go full ghost? Someone commented that he should be able to go extra human as well, you know, being the inverse of going full ghost. I'm unsure as to what extra human would do for him. Maybe it would turn him into Stoner Danny again, but I digress. The fans also comment along the lines of, Full Phantom is much stronger than Danny's regular ghost form, but it would also drain his life force. Danny can feel his humanity slipping away in this extra form. He does not tell Sam or Tucker any of this because he knows it would freak them out and worry them. Some of his other fan stuff are along the lines of full Phantom mode cannot have his legs, constantly having that wispy little tail thing he gets sometimes when he's flying, as well as his ghostly wail being far stronger, being able to lock ghosts in the ghost zone permanently, or whoever else gets hit by the blast. Danny chooses not to use this version, for it would cause too many casualties. He's also very forgetful in this form, as the longer he's in the full Phantom form, his memory of his human life begins to slip away. at some point he may forget how to turn back. He must have been laughing about that angst post a while ago, but, well, you'll see how bad or good it gets.
The Fenton's driving. Jack Fenton is comically bad at driving. The Fenton's A+ parenting. This is a sarcastic tag about the Fenton parents and their amazing, terrible, terrible parenting skills. Danny's mullet. In the episode The Ultimate Enemy, we see an evil, dark, older Danny, nicknamed Dan by the fandom, who has a mullet. Will Danny get a mullet when he gets older too? Red Huntress. This is one that fits in so well with the canon that people thought it was canon, but it is actually fanon. Valerie, in her red suit form where she fights ghosts and stuff, was never given a superhero name. So the fandom gave her her own superhero name, meaning, seeing that it is a red suit and she is a huntress, the fandom has agreed upon calling her the Red Huntress. SpongeBob! It's a ghost SpongeBob. It's just SpongeBob, but spooky. Dano on a stick. You guys remember Dan Apocalypse? Take the first Danny face, we put him on a stick. Dano on a stick. Amethyst Ocean. A creator who has done a lot of amazing Danny Phantom art and animations. I'll be putting links to their YouTube and their DeviantArt into the description below. Please go check them out, it's amazing. And that concludes Layer 2. Layer 3, you've started entering the depths. Cancellation protests. People really didn't want this show to end, so people protested in New York's Times Square as well as UCLA's campus in LA before the Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Award, even having call to action events between 2006 and 2008. They wanted to put pressure on Nick to get the show back on air. True fans and anti-fans. Back in the old forums, Butwitch used to interact often, but didn't really care for how people shipped the characters of the show. So he made true fans and anti-fans. True fans were people who followed the original show's ships and stuff like that, and anti-fans were people who kind of went off and did their own thing. Mainly Danny X Vlad stuff. Rewrite projects. Throughout the years since Danny Phantom ended, people have tried to rewrite and recreate the show. None have really gotten too far, but, you know, still. Dash straight up calls Danny a twink in Season 1, Episode 4, at 42 seconds into the episode. Roll the clip!
Sorry, I was just, passing through.
Now that twink is out of the way.
Lance Thunder, a background character that normally does the news and weather of Amity Park's news. He often covers ghost attacks. There is also a popular roleplay account on Tumblr who does weather updates every day. It's really wholesome and really funny because this roleplay account literally updates every day on the weather of Amity Park. Raisins. The fandom seriously just can't spell the word raisins, which is really funny because as I was typing out this document, I too have spelled raisins wrong. Ranch 2 originates from this post where the original thought was that Danny's eyes would glow in the dark, but Tumblr, being Tumblr, added to the situation, which led to Ranch 2's creation. And now, a dramatic reading of Ranch 2. Danny Phantom AU, where his eyes glow or at least reflect even in human form. So basically, all I want to see is one of the Fentons going downstairs at 3 AM only to find Danny raiding the fridge with his glowing eyes. Maddie. Honey, your eyes, why are they glowing? Danny lost his last brain cell to disease at 14. I ate ectoplasm. Maddie, straight? Danny, no, I warmed it up and dipped my tater tots in it. Maddie, disappointed mother and very excited scientist. What did it taste like? Danny, Ranch 2. Ranch 2! And then somebody, of course, made a comic. Danny? Honey, your eyes, why are they glowing? I ate ectoplasm. Straight? No, I heated it up and dipped my tater tots into it. What did it taste like? Ranch 2. Ranch 2 is my favorite thing ever. Ella Phantom. Naming two characters Danny with only a slight spelling difference is really dumb, so people have called Daniela Ella instead of Danny with an I, so it's less confusing. Printer Pan's Danny! While printing out some art, Tumblr user Guys, I'm sorry I don't know how to say your name, had a bit of printer error giving Danny's normally blue pants pink stripes. And of course the fandom being the fandom latched onto this and started making their own art of it. Ghostweed, it's like catnip but for ghosts. Mortified, a popular fanfiction on AO3 by Marcelius with 698,187 words and 316 out of 319 chapters. It started in 2019 and it updates every Friday. I will put a link to that in the description below. Telekinesis. Danny just straight up has telekinesis in Season 3, Episode 8, and nobody talks about it. Headless Danny. Original production art that never came true of Danny carrying his decapitated head. Fans doing what fans do best took this and ran with it. It would have been a really cool episode. Remember, this is the song Ember McLean sings. The full version of the song didn't come out until 2010 and is really good. Dissection/vivisection fic memes. People all joke about the dissection and vivisection memes and stuff, but you know, it couldn't possibly be real, right? Nobody actually wrote dissection or vivisection, right? Right? The memes are good anyways.
You're coming in for questioning.
And experiments. Lots and lots of really painful experiments.
Secret Trio. A crossover between Danny Phantom, Jake Long, and Randy Cunningham. All three of them are teens who have to hide their identity of being a superhero. So they all kind of just fit together. Flynn Fenton. Butch's original character he made in 2020. This character is Danny and Jazz's older brother who went missing 10 years before the events of the series. After Jack and Maddie opened the ghost portal, a ghost named Misery Vex had grabbed Flynn and took him into the ghost zone. The reason Misery Vex kidnapped Flynn was to train him to become a warrior to keep the balance. Because Flynn was in the zone for so long, he ended up getting powers. Which never said what kind of powers, but he has powers now. Inside the ghost zone, Flynn goes by Exodus and acts like a cop. He's supposed to liberate ghosts, and from what? Pariah Dark? Danny kind of takes care of that later on. Walker? Not really. A lot of this backstory doesn't really make sense. It downplays Danny getting his powers from the portal, mainly because in the series, the portal Danny gets his powers from is the first successful portal his parents actually made. It's interesting to think that he could have had an older brother, but it doesn't really work with the actual plot of the series, and this is why it's an OC and not something actually somewhat canon. Also these designs. Oh god, the colors! Ah geez, they give me pain. Anyways, a Tumblr user named The Stove Is On Fire rewrote and redesigned this character, as well as renamed Flynn Fenton to Flynn Walker, making him Danny's cousin, because Walker is often given to Maddie as a maiden name, as well as to Aunt Alicia. This also gives Aunt Alicia a son and a reason for her marriage to fall apart. Instead of being kidnapped into the zone, he fell into a naturally spawning ghost portal at a young age. Alicia had seen what had happened and her husband didn't believe her. She ended up isolating herself and only actually communicating with Maddie because she believed her, and Maddie and Jack promised to find Flynn. This fits in canon because they keep repeating to their own kids that ghosts are dangerous, because they would have seen what it had done to the family because they've already lost a family member. It also would have been a very sensitive subject, so the adults would have never really went into details with the kids, which would be the reason why Danny and Jazz don't remember their older cousin, because they were fairly young at the age when it happened. Now, what happened to Flynn after he fell into the zone? Literally anything, but Stove went with a nerfed version of him. He survived on his wits and luck alone. Over the years, he managed to gain allies and eventually learn how to fight ghosts with old traditional means, like blood blossoms and ectoranium. He lives in a hermit-style situation with alchemy to keep him safe. During the beginning, either first few months to the first few years, he's tried to get home. He tried his gosh darn best to get home, but it never really went well. But as time has passed, he has found that the ghost zone is more of a home to him than any hazy childhood memories. Lastly, Flynn Walker's design is way better here. The colors blend much more seamlessly, as well as with the blood blossoms around his belt makes him seem like he's actually trying to survive. From Butch's story of hero origin story to a tragic missing kid growing up in a bad situation to become someone strong and able to protect himself, the Stovetop on Fire has done a marvelous job at reworking this character. Florida-shaped birthmark. In Phantom Planet we see Danny shirtless and he has a Florida-shaped birthmark. This is probably why he wore his shirt at the pool. But Phantom Planet isn't canon, so haha! Kyle Weston. Kyle is another background character that the fandom adopted. Considering he looks like Wes, he was made into an older brother to him, who either completely is oblivious of the ghosts and think everything is fake and not real, or the fact that he 100% knows what's going on and is just trying to mess with his little brother. Lil Nas X's gay awakening. Lil Nas X has posted a TikTok confirming that Danny Phantom was in fact his gay awakening. Phantom name rights. In the Danny Phantom universe, there seems to be Danny Phantom merch. Danny doesn't really comment on it, as well as, doesn't really seem to have any copyright to it. So who owns the copyright to Danny Phantom in the Danny Phantom universe? Oh my clockwork. Instead of people saying, oh my god, in fics and stuff, they will sometimes have Danny say, oh my clockwork. Boxer Box Ghost. This is what the fandom has given the Box Ghost as a full name. Lancer is clockwork. This is a theory saying that Lancer is clockwork. Danny is clockwork. This is another one of those clockwork theories, but it's Danny becomes clockwork when he gets older. I'm just going to point out the fact that Dan ends up trapping Danny in the future in the episode The Ultimate Enemy via him fusing a time medallion to Danny, and I don't think it ever shows Danny losing the time medallion. As in, he's never unfused with it, meaning he has some weird time abilities, but nobody ever mentions it. Lex Apocalypse. Lex Apocalypse is a Tumblr user who was off doing some filming or something, and all of her mutuals ended up changing their profile pictures to hers, and a bunch of stuff happened like that, and then she came back and everybody was like, oh my gosh, you're back! Type of thing, and everything. It was a very short little apocalypse, but it was cute. Blonde Sam. Sam's parents don't have black hair. meaning either Sam's mom cheated or Sam is dyeing her hair black. Burger King merch. It happened. There's merch. It happened. Montrego. I'm not too sure exactly what they wanted for this one, but this is all I found for it, so I hope you guys enjoy. Layer 4. I have turned Layer 4 into only doing AUs and this and that type of thing. Because by the time you get here, you're probably have run into quite a few of these. So let's just talk about a couple of them. I know there's a lot more than what we have here, but I'll do more of these the next time I make another Danny Phantom Iceberg, because I'll go into detail on that later. Batman! In more recent years, the amount of crossover with Batman has risen quite a bit. People just really want to see Danny be a part of the Bat Fam. Ghost King AU. This is an AU based around the fact that Danny defeated the previous Ghost King. So you know what that means? He's the new Ghost King! Inverted/reverse trio AU. This is basically along the lines of, what if one of the other members of the trio got the ghost powers? So, ghost powers Sam, ghost powers Tucker. Reverse AU. This is basically where Danny was originally a ghost and became half human. Teen Vlad AU. Vlad is a teen halfa along with Danny. Or he's just a teen halfa. Corpse AU. There's two different versions of the Corpse AU. The first version is that Danny is just possessing his human corpse to try and keep living as a human. The other is that when Danny turns into a ghost, he drops a body. When he turns human, he creates a new one. It's very cursed. Clones AU. An AU where the clones from the episode Kindred Spirits survive. Disabled Danny AU. An AU where Danny either was disabled from the accident or was born disabled, either physically or mentally. You can find both. Danny Phantom Fantasy AU. Tumblr user 13th Cat, or KC, created this one. It's basically a fantasy D&D where Danny is turned into a lich, Sam is a necromantic druid, and Tucker is an archer artificer. Casey made a really cool animatic with the storyline, so I will be linking that in the description. Go check it out! Okay, for this next one, I have to say again, I don't swear, so like, Danny Fenton is a little crap. See this image here for the actual one. A popular tag on AO3 where Danny just acts like a little chaotic crap. It's great. Danny effing dies. Another popular on AO3 where Danny just straight up dies. Again. Portal AU. There's two versions of this Portal AU. The first one is that the ghost portal is alive, and the second one is that Danny becomes the ghost portal and just throws up ghosts. Another cursed one. No one knows AU. An AU where no one knows Danny has ghost powers, and like, what would happen if Danny got his powers alone and just didn't tell anybody? Undercover Phantom AU. This is an ongoing comic on Tumblr by user Artist's Fingers. It kind of jumps off of the Nobody Knows AU, but Danny is stuck in ghost form because of Vlad, of course, and, you know, has to do things, I guess. It's a really good comic, go check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. Gritty Reboot Riverdale AU. This is one that I feel like is going to be more of our future, and then just an AU, but like, you know. But basically, it's a gritty and serious and like romance-driven type of like remake. And it's gonna have terrible writing type of thing. It's just gonna not be great, but it's gonna be fun in a bad way. Bad ending AU. Danny, Sam, and Tucker all end up doing their evil endings. Danny either becomes Dan or an evil version of the Ghost King, Sam gets her evil plant powers, and Tucker gets his Egyptian king abilities, and they all be evil together. And we're gonna get into more other things, not really like AUs, but like other things for fanfiction. Lost Time. A platonic ship between Clockwork and Danny. In fanon, Clockwork has become more of a mentor to Danny. I don't know how to say this one. Dania? I'm too dyslexic. A Hive Academy AU where Vlad sends Danny to villain school and Danny decides to just make it very cursed very fast. This is by Tumblr user TK Draws Stuff. It's really fun. I think you'll get most of the gist of this whole AU from this short comic, which I will now read. Danny. This is stupid. Tucker. Hey dude, at least he left your... Holy crap, it really says evil name. He left it blank. Your description is blank too. Why? Probably Sam. Probably the closest thing the old Fruit Loop can get to chivalry. Letting me pick evil school and heroing separate. Then again, this is Vlad. It's probably convenient for him to... Wait. Blank? Horsehead, scarf, poncho. He accidentally becomes one of the Academy's most promising students and is wearing this the whole time. King crap, man, it's amazing! If you want to read the full document, it gets really, really funny right after this, so please go and check it out. I will have the link in the description below. Checkmate! It's another really popular Danny Phantom fanfiction, which I will put the link in the description down below. There's gonna be a lot of links down there. Pitch Pearl. It is a ship between Danny Fenton and Danny Phantom. What you may be thinking is, aren't they the same person? Yes. But what if they weren't? And what if they were together? No beta, we die like Danny. A common fanfiction tag where an author doesn't have a beta reader and just posts it. Most asexual fandom. According to AO3, Danny Phantom has the least amount of general fanfics about romance and sexual relationships being the main focus of the ships. This has led people to say that Danny Phantom is the most asexual fandom because no one's really writing slash about the characters. It is well documented, and I will be putting that in the description below again. We're gonna have a lot of links down there. And that is the end of Layer 4. Layer 5. You've seen a few things. Diddle Piddles. Tumblr user Diddly Turncoast created a version of Danny where he is a little guy with a big old body, a ghost tail, and little old hands named Diddle Piddles. This little guy is cursed and adorable and we all love him. The Oatmeal Saga. In 2019, Tumblr user Lexosaurus posted how they dislike Hot Pockets and mentioned how oatmeal is superior. Then another user named Dots reblogged this with their strong opinions on oatmeal, saying it was the worst breakfast food ever. This led to people creating accounts like Danny Eats His Oatmeal and Dots Loves Oatmeal. A couple of days later, another user by the name The Best Phantom Blog DM'd Dots asking how many notes it would take for Dots to eat oatmeal. They responded with 5,000. People reblogged this post and easily got it to 5,000 before midnight. The next day, Dots, with the help of their aunt, made a video of them making and eating oatmeal, thus concluding the Oatmeal Saga. There you're wondering how did this relate to Danny Phantom, there's so many memes. All the memes. Furry Tucker. In the episode Reality Trip, Tucker says, "That is the hottest geek," and she transforms into her wolf form. Which Sam responds with, "Yeah, how about now?" And Tucker responds, "Yeah, still hot." This has made fans headcanon Tucker being a furry. It's not gay if he's dead. This phrase comes from a fan fiction by Phantom Rose in '96, where Danny finds out that everyone in his school has a crush on his alter ego, Danny Phantom. Danny confronts one of these bullies about his crush, which the bully responds, "It's not gay if he's dead." Link in description if you want to see more. The Ultimate Enemy. The darkest Danny Phantom episode by far. Danny goes to the future to find out Amity Park has been destroyed and his friends and family were all killed in a nasty burger explosion in front of him. In the future, Danny has become a villain, with Valerie becoming the hero of the town, keeping everyone safe from, evil future Danny. This has led fans to nickname evil future Danny Dan. Dark Danny. Dark Danny, aka Dan, is the combination of Danny's ghost half and Vlad's ghost half, making him a full ghost. The Ultimate Enemy was the series finale. This is a fan theory going along the lines of the Ultimate Enemy being the final episode because of the fact that the original lead writer, Stephen Marmel, had left the show because of creative differences, leaving it to Butch. The Ultimate Enemy caused the drop in quality. The episode, The Ultimate Enemy, of course, was very dark, which led to people, not giving the show more money, I guess. Which, of course, led to the drop in quality in Season 3. Danny's ghost half murdered his human half. Again, we're doing all the Ultimate Enemy points right here now, so, in the episode, The Ultimate Enemy, Vlad splits Danny's human half and his ghost halves. Then his ghost half rips Vlad's ghost and human halves apart, which then the ghost halves fuse, and then it's very heavily implied that he kills Danny's human half to get rid of the pesky human emotions. It's a very dark episode, guys. It's very dark. Plant powers Sam. In the episode Urban Jungle, Sam is given the ability to control plants by Undergrowth via his, mind control over her. This led to fans to think, what if Sam kept those plant powers? Valerie's suit makes her part ghost. In the episode Flirting with a Disaster, Valerie gets a new suit from Technus. The suit merges with her, and the suit is clearly of ghostly origin, so fans have come to the conclusion that she's no longer completely human. The Guacamole arc comes from a comic from Diddly Darn Ghost, where Danny is obsessed with guacamole and shenanigans happen. It's lovely. Phantom Chain. After Danny Phantom was announced to being cancelled, fans went to DeviantArt to draw themselves, OCs, and other Danny Phantom characters holding hands, forming a chain to show Nickelodeon their love for this show, in hopes they wouldn't cancel it. Amity Parker's consuming ectoplasm. On the Lance Thunder roleplay blog on Tumblr, a ginormous broccoli tree appeared. Someone asked if it was edible, mentioning Ranch 2 in the process, even though Lance told them not to. The Amity Parker ate it anyways. This spread to the point of people eating a little blob ghosts, creating ecto tea, mixing blood blossoms with ectoplasm. It spiraled for months, even making a ghost orphanage because of the consumption of other ghosts. Of so many ghosts. The event seems to have slowed down in more recent time, but gosh darn it, don't eat the ghosts. Spider Danny. This right here, officer. It's right here. This is a cursed image of Danny with arms, too many arms and too many legs, making him look like a spider. originated from this screenshot of Danny getting ready to fly up and, you know, oh, he coming type of thing. Link in description below. Ryan Finn, an OC created by Phantom Rose 96. He is an old college friend of Mr. Lancers, who is somewhat, you know, into the paranormal. He's currently unemployed but studies Ghostspeak. He was created in a fanfic named Ghostspeak the Teacher. I'll put the link in description if you guys want to read it. It's really cute. Eldritch Horror Danny. Basically, the Eldritch Horror vibes are maxed out, making Fenton an off-putting, creepy human and Phantom straight up terrifying to be around. It's lovely. Ember's death. Ember's death was described in her song Remember. She was originally an unpopular girl at school. She had dreams of becoming a rock star. One day, some guy asked her out on a date to go to the movies, where he stood her up. She stayed up all night, and when she got home, she collapsed and didn't wake up when her house mysteriously got set on fire. Ghostvor. Skullgirl has mentioned before that he planned to eat the ghosts in the cages around, you know, that he had with him. Also, Danny with an I mentioned she needed purified ectoplasm to sustain herself in Destabilized. From what we understand, it's like vampires drinking blood, or better along the lines of vampiric cannibalism and less vor, but that didn't stop the fans from, you know, making the memes and the jokes about Ghostvor.
Half-a-Bones are black. One of Danny's clones in the episode Kindred Spirits could best be described as a bedsheet ghost, you know the type. But upon the removal of the sheet, it's seen to have been completely skeletal, with black bones and red eyes. Now, we've seen exposed bone on some ghosts before, but none of them have ever been black, only white or green tinted like the skin. However, this has led the fandom to come to a conclusion that half-a-bones are black. Because Danny's bones are the only ones we've seen, or rather the clone of Danny, and Danny's the only half of whose bones we've seen. This led us to this conclusion that half-a-bones are in fact black instead of white, due to the whole inversion process that seems to happen in the transformation, what with Danny's hair turning white from black, or his jumpsuit going from white with black trim to black with white trim. Tucker is the reincarnation of an Egyptian pharaoh. In the episode King Tut, the gang is on a field trip to the museum with the rest of their class. They notice that Tucker bears a striking resemblance to one Dul-Aman, an ancient pharaoh of Egypt. Legend says that Hotep Ra, the pharaoh's right-hand servant, will reawaken when Dul-Aman's face is reflected in the mirror of his sarcophagus. Which happens the moment Tucker looks into the mirror, I might add. This implies that Tucker is in fact the reincarnation of Dul-Aman when Hotep Ra awakens. Little known fact, this also means that Tucker would be super awesome at children's card games.
Disasteroid. In Phantom Planet, it doesn't really make sense how they end up winning against the Disasteroid. It's really dumb, and it's terrible, and everyone hates it. Stay tuned for the video where Demo and I go and break down all of Phantom Planet, and then rewrite everything. It'll be fun. Dracula copyright. I'm not too sure what this one is. I couldn't actually find anything, so if anybody knows anything, please tell me. Sucker and Tam. Same with this one, I'm not sure if it's a ship thing, or I don't know. Please tell me in the comments. Ghosts are monsters from another dimension. Butch has stated that none of the ghosts in the show are actually ghosts. They're just monsters from another dimension. This is really dumb because we see multiple characters' backstories of them dying, and before their deaths. Wild, isn't it? Mind you, while editing this video, we also found Freak Show, who was a human and was alive, and then is now a part of the ghosts, meaning we've seen a character die in the show. The last time we see Freak Show is at the end of Reality Trip. Yes, he turns himself into the ghost into the episode, but Danny turns everything back to normal, which means he should also be back to normal, and the guys in white took him away. But now he's a ghost, so I guess we see another character die. That's not Danny. Different openings. The opening to Danny Phantom is actually not the only one. There is another one. It is really good, and I love it, and I'm gonna put it in the description because it's really good. Please go check it out. I don't want to get copyrighted, alright? It's really good. Also, Butch made a video talking about it and stuff, but the other opening was already on YouTube far before he did that. Layer 6. You're in too deep to go back now. Unless if you end this video, then you're fine. Actual dissection and vivisection fix. I know it was all fun and games when we talked about the memes, but guys, there are actual dissection and vivisection fics, and I have seen them. People can't decide if it's dissection or vivisection because Danny is half dead and half alive. We're just gonna move on. Catboy Vlad. Long story short, Catboy Vlad. Roll the clip. I'll link it in description below. Last words. Some people have said that they want their last words to be "I'm going ghost." It is very sad. Elmer's self-insert, which his real name is Elmer, and he has stated that Danny is a self-insert. The pilot to Danny Phantom seems to be lost to time. They say the pilot originally shows Danny getting his powers. I myself have been trying to find it for years to no avail. If anyone has seen it, anyone knows anything about it, or anyone even has it saved, please tell me. I want to see it. Danny trips on a loose wire. How did Danny press the button on accident? Was it because it was dark? Was it because he tripped on a loose wire? Well, the loose wire part was fandom. In canon, Danny just accidentally pressed the button. Danny never tripped on the loose wire. Phantom Pledge. On March 27th, 2014, Tumblr user Phantom Central made a post saying that fans of the show should make a pledge to the fandom on April 3rd at 7 p.m. when the first episode originally aired. People said that they didn't really like this because it seemed fairly cultish, and that is not what this fandom is. Ashian guard dogs were killed. A popular fan theory where the Ashian guard dogs were put down when the new system was put in place. This is supported by Cujo, the puppy, kept going back to Ashian for his squeaky toy that had been left behind. The failed clones. This is commenting on the fact that in the episode Kindred Spirits, Vlad had made a bunch of clones of Danny, but they had all destabilized in fairly gruesome and gory ways. Skinned pudding. Skulker canonically skins his pudding. It's become a meme. What do you mean, skinned pudding? Well, what actually is pudding skin is that it's a layer of dried milk that happens because of evaporation at the top of pudding. You can eat it, it's not dangerous, it's just really gross. You can just scrape it off with a spoon and move on with your day, which we're gonna do. Amity Park residents can't leave. This is a fan theory stated that Amity Park residents cannot leave either from ectoplasm radiation or due to Danny's obsession, I don't know. Amity Parkers seem to be having trouble leaving, or visitors having a hard time leaving as well. Ectoplasm radiation. This is a headcanon that ectoplasm emits radiation. People who are around it for a long time could become sick or gain minor ghostly traits. A theory from this is that Danny only half survived from the portal accident because he had been exposed to it by his parents for years. Some people have even written Jazz as being creepy like Danny, which is also fun. This little part of the theory comes from me because of reading this, I had thought about something that Butch had said in one of his older videos, where basically, if any of Danny's friends were in his situation, they would have just died. They would not have become a Haffa. And originally, I had thought that was dumb. But thinking about it combined with this theory, the fact that Danny had been exposed to the ectoplasm his whole entire life, even at times probably even ate it by accident, would be the reason he survived. But at the same time, his friends wouldn't, because they weren't in contact with the stuff their entire lives. This would also make sense because Vlad had been exposed to it for a fairly long time when he was researching it in college. Just food for thought. Vlad is Danny's biological father. This is a fan theory that Maddie cheated on Jack with Vlad and had Danny in the process. This could explain why Vlad is so obsessed with Danny and not Jazz. These theories could get pretty dark with Maddie not being in full, consent with the whole situation. So we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Moving on. The fandom is as undying as the show. This is referencing the fact that, the show is a little undead, this fandom is a little undead, mainly because of the fact that, well, it's been 19 years, and it's still going strong as if the show is still airing. It's kind of more of a pat on the back than anything else. But also referencing that, considering the fandom is still ongoing, this video will probably be very much behind within a few weeks, months, and most likely definitely a year from now. And I've probably definitely missed quite a few things. If you guys have noticed that I've missed a few things, please comment them. I really want to do an update video on this when I'm a little better at YouTube and stuff. Thank you to this amazing fandom that I have had the pleasure to meet and see. From the most wholesome to the most cursed, you have all made this silly little cartoon into something even more than the creators have ever thought possible. I hope you guys have all enjoyed this iceberg. I had a lot of fun making it, and forcing my friends to listen to all my random Danny Phantom knowledge. And thank you, Dylan, for helping me read some of these. I am very dyslexic. It is very helpful. Please check out all the creators and all the links down below in the description. Everything was really cool looking into. Everybody did such a cool job with everything. Oh my gosh. You guys are the real reason that we are all here today. Now, I don't know if I'm going to put this part in, but let's do it anyways. Also, if Butch Hartman decides to watch this, hello! I can't believe you made it to the end! Oh my gosh! You probably have more facts than I do on random creating things stuff. I don't know. And if you're gonna get mad at me for, criticizing you in the slightest way possible, wait a couple of years. I'm a film student. Anyways, we're just gonna continue on. Before we say our final goodbyes and stuff of the video, please comment if I missed anything. I swear, I know for a fact I missed a few things. I remembered a few things and then I forgot to write them down. And I know for a fact I missed a few things. Please comment them. Please. And then also, I want to know what your guys' favorite thing on the iceberg is. I love Ranch 2. I want to make Ranch 2 one day, but actually edible. I think that'll be a fun video. And one last thing before we go, because, shameless self-promotion. Hello, I am Lace. I play Minecraft with a drawing pen. Don't question it, it's fine. It's fine. If you guys want to stick around for some more stuff, I usually play some video games. I usually play Minecraft and some other games, probably some Genshin. I'm starting some Let's Plays. I'm currently working on Final Fantasy 15, fun game. As well as the fact that you probably heard me mention that my friend and I think I said Demo, but he goes by Dylan or Demo. Cool dude, best friend type of thing. We ended up watching Phantom Planet, doing some criticizing, and then after that, we ended up making our own remake of it type of thing. We discussed it, so you guys are gonna have a fun, 2-hour-long discussion video of us, tearing apart Phantom Planet and then putting it back together and talking about what we would have done if we were given the ability to make a season 4 type of thing. So I hope you guys would enjoy that video. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm still working on this video. But still, I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys next time, hopefully. I have a bunch of Danny Phantom themed, videos coming out soon. I don't know. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for vibing, chillin', vibing like you do. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun. It was all good fun and dandy and stuff. I will see you all next time, hopefully. Until then, bye!